They laughed at him, right there in the parking lot, in broad daylight, with their windows rolled down just enough to make sure he could hear it. They pointed from their driver's seats and shook their heads at the man parked in the corner space behind the gym. The same corner space every single morning. And they told themselves a story about him. A story about failure, about rock bottom, about what happens when life gets away from a person and doesn't come back. They felt pity, or they felt contempt, or they felt that particular cocktail of both that people reach for when they see something that makes them uncomfortable. They pulled out of that lot every morning and drove back to their apartments and their lease agreements and their autopay notifications, and they felt grateful that they were not him, that they had a real place to live, a real life, real bills. Here is what none of them understood. Those bills, those real, respectable, responsible monthly obligations were the cage, and that man in the corner space had already found the door. His name, for the purposes of this story, is Marcus. And on a Tuesday morning in early spring, Marcus woke up in the back seat of a 10-year-old Chevy Malibu parked on the eastern edge of Atlanta, Georgia. The light came through the tinted rear windows slowly, amber and quiet, the way sunrise only looks when you're low to the ground and there's no ceiling between you and the sky. He didn't hit a snooze button. There was no snooze button. He folded his sleeping bag into a precise rectangle, the same fold every morning because efficiency is a habit you build or don't, and tucked it beneath the seat. He reached into a plastic storage bin wedged beside the spare tire and pulled out a clean, white button-down shirt, pressed the night before with a handheld travel steamer that ran off his car's power inverter. He brewed a single cup of coffee from a small portable maker plugged into that same inverter. By 7:10 a.m., he was inside the gym across the lot, showering under hot water, using the locker room, moving through his morning routine with the calm and deliberation of a man who had designed his life, rather than inherited it. By 7:45, he walked out of those glass doors looking like every other professional in the city, collar crisp, shoes clean, thermos in hand. People nodded at him on the way to their cars. He nodded back. He just belonged in a way none of them could see yet. Marcus had not always lived this way. He'd had the apartment, $1,200 a month, one bedroom, third floor of a complex in Decatur with a busted elevator, neighbors who argued at midnight through walls thin enough to hear every word, and a so-called fitness center that turned out to be 2 treadmills and a rowing machine that hadn't worked since the Obama administration. He had the full suite of modern financial obligations running on autopay every month: rent, electricity, gas, water, renter's insurance, Wi-Fi, a streaming package, a storage unit for the overflow of things that didn't fit in the apartment, and still, a gym membership at the facility across the street because the building's equipment was unusable. He was spending north of $2,000 a month just to have a place to sleep, a Wi-Fi password, and a working treadmill. And at the end of every single month, after working a full 40-hour week, his bank account looked like a crime scene. The money was there, and then it wasn't. He was producing and earning and showing up, and the money was just gone, absorbed into a system that offered nothing in return except the privilege of doing it again next month. The breaking point didn't announce itself dramatically. It came on a Tuesday night. It's always a Tuesday, isn't it? That's when clarity tends to arrive. When Marcus sat on the edge of his bed, opened his banking app, looked at the number, and felt something change inside him. Not despair, not panic. Something quieter and more permanent than either of those. Something closer to, I have been playing a game where the rules were written against me, and I just now realized I don't have to keep playing. So before we go any further, I need you to stop and actually answer this question in the comments right now. Have you ever had that moment, that Tuesday night, banking app staring at a number moment where you realize that an entire month of your life went by and you have almost nothing to show for it? Where every bill you paid felt less like a choice and more like a ransom demand? Drop it in the comments. Tell me what that number looked like. Because what Marcus did next What he figured out in the weeks that followed is going to fundamentally change how you understand the concept of a monthly expense. Not reduce it, not optimize it, demolish it from the foundation up. Here's the thing about the modern financial system that nobody in a position to profit from. It will ever tell you directly, you are not a participant in that system. You are the product. You are the revenue stream. And the architecture of that system, the way it has been constructed, marketed, and culturally reinforced over the last 70 years, is specifically engineered to make every single one of its costs feel non-negotiable. Rent, non-negotiable. You need shelter. Electricity, non-negotiable. You need light and heat. Water, non-negotiable. You need to drink and bathe. Internet, non-negotiable. The modern economy requires connectivity, and so you pay. Every month, without question, without exploring alternatives, because the system has been so completely built around these assumed expenses that questioning them doesn't even feel like a financial decision. It feels like questioning whether you need oxygen. But oxygen is free, and more things than you've been told are closer to oxygen than to rent. The numbers are staggering when you actually look at them with fresh eyes. The average American spends between $1,500 and $2,500 per month on housing alone. That's before food, before transportation, before the 8 streaming services and the cloud storage plan, and the 3 apps charging $4.99 a month for things you used twice and forgot about. Financial advisors have been telling people for decades to budget better, spend smarter, skip the coffee shop, meal prep on Sundays, and none of it works. It cannot work. Not because people are undisciplined, they're not. Not because people are irresponsible, they aren't. It doesn't work because the math is structurally broken at the foundation, not at the edges. You cannot coupon your way out of a $1,800 monthly rent obligation. You cannot skip enough lunches to overcome a housing market that has, in the last 25 years, grown at roughly triple the rate of average wages. The advice was designed to make you feel like the problem was your behavior. It wasn't. The system was designed wrong, and then when it failed you, it turned around and blamed you for the failure. Marcus understood this, and rather than trying to optimize his behavior inside a system that had been engineered to extract from him, regardless of how disciplined he was, he made a different decision. He stepped outside the system entirely. And if this is already landing, if you can feel the logic of it shifting something in how you see your own monthly bills, hit that like button right now. Because what comes next is the actual blueprint. Let's talk about what Marcus built. And I want to be precise here, because this is not a story about suffering through hardship. This is a story about engineering, about the difference between a person who tolerates a difficult situation and a person who designs a functional system. The Chevy Malibu was his canvas. He didn't gut it or convert it or buy thousands of dollars of van life gear. He didn't document it for Instagram. He worked with what he already had: a back seat, a trunk, a power outlet, 60 square inches of dashboard, and the willingness to solve problems that most people never think to solve because they've been told the problems don't need solving. The first layer of his system was sleep. And here's where I need to push back against the assumption most people bring to this conversation. Because when you say sleeping in a car, what most people picture is a person slumped in a front seat, neck bent at the wrong angle, waking up exhausted and miserable. That's what happens when sleeping in a car is something that happens to you. Marcus made it something he designed. He measured the back seat, 5 feet, 4 inches of fully reclined space. He ordered a custom-cut piece of 3-inch memory foam for $40. He had a sleeping bag rated to 15 degrees for winter months and a lightweight merino wool blanket for the warm ones, a small battery-powered fan for humid nights, a compact ceramic car heater for the deep cold of January. He averaged 7 hours of sleep. He tracked it with a basic fitness watch. He was not exhausted. He was not deteriorating physically. He was, by his own account and by every metric he monitored, sleeping more consistently and waking more rested than he ever had in the apartment, because the parking lot behind the gym at 2 in the morning was quieter than any bedroom in any apartment complex he had ever rented, and silence, it turns out, cannot be purchased with $1,200 a month. You have to go find it. The second layer was water and hygiene. The gym membership handled showers, bathrooms, and grooming. $16 a month, doing the work of an entire utility bill. For his water supply, he kept 2 5-gallon jugs in the trunk, refilled weekly at a water vending machine outside any grocery store, 25 cents per gallon. He maintained a small, collapsible camp basin for hand. Washing between gym visits, running off a push-pump water container. His complete water infrastructure cost him roughly $2 per week. Let that land for a second. $2 a week for clean water. Meanwhile, most people are paying $60 a month for a water bill attached to an apartment that also charges them for electricity, gas, and the privilege of using a mailbox. The third layer was power. A 200-watt foldable solar panel lay flat across his trunk lid during daylight hours, silently feeding a lithium iron phosphate battery bank that he'd bought secondhand for $220. That battery bank ran his laptop, his phone, his coffee maker, a small LED light strip, and a portable Bluetooth speaker. His entire digital infrastructure, the connectivity, the devices, the light, the entertainment, cost him nothing on a monthly basis after that initial hardware purchase. The sun was paying his electricity bill, the same sun that rises over every apartment complex in Atlanta, over every parking lot, over every person who has been handing $60 a month to a utility company for their entire adult life. The sun was there the whole time. Marcus just stopped ignoring it. The fourth layer was food. And this is where the cultural conversation gets genuinely uncomfortable, because one of the most persistent myths about financial struggle is that eating well is expensive. It isn't. Eating conveniently is expensive. Those are not the same thing. Marcus cooked on a single-burner butane stove that sat on the lip of his trunk. His weekly staples were rice, red lentils, canned sardines and olive oil, eggs from the corner store, sweet potatoes, oatmeal, bananas, peanut butter, and a rotating cast of whatever produce was being sold by the flat near the end of the day at the market 3 blocks over. He spent between $45 and $55 a week on food. He ate 3 full meals a day. He was not hungry. He was not malnourished. By multiple measures, energy, focus, physical condition, he was eating better than the majority of Americans who had full kitchens, full refrigerators, and a DoorDash habit that they told themselves they'd cut back on starting Monday. Now, let's add it up, because this is the number that changes everything. Gym membership, $16. Water, $8. Food, $200. Prepaid phone plan with data, $45. Car insurance, $90. Butane canisters, incidentals, and miscellaneous supplies, $20. Total monthly cost of Marcus's entire life, $379. $379 a month, while his neighbors were paying $2,000 a month for the same city, the same streets, the same morning commute, and the same sky. While the people who laughed at him from their car windows were 1 missed paycheck away from a late fee and 2 missed paychecks away from a conversation with their landlord they didn't want to have, Marcus was banking the difference every single month, like a man who had found a door in a wall that everyone else kept walking past. So here's the question that this entire story forces you to confront, and I want you to sit with it rather than dismiss it, because your first instinct will be to dismiss it. If a human being can live comfortably, cleanly, with dignity, with full connectivity, with good sleep and good food and hot showers for under $400 a month, then why has no financial advisor, no school curriculum, no government program, no self-help empire, no budgeting app ever laid this out for you as a genuine option? Why did no one sit you down at 18 and say, here is a way to live that costs almost nothing and leaves you free? Here is the part that should make you genuinely angry. The housing industry in the United States generates over $4 trillion in economic activity every year. The residential utility sector generates hundreds of billions more. These are not passive markets. They are active, organized, politically connected industries that have spent decades shaping the cultural messaging around what it means to live respectably. The message they funded, the message they embedded into advertising and television and social aspiration, and the advice of parents who are themselves trapped in the same system is this: to be housed in a conventional dwelling, paying conventional rates is to have succeeded. To live any other way is to have failed. To be a man sleeping in a car is to be a cautionary tale, not a case study. The mockery Marcus endured wasn't random cruelty, it was a trained response. People have been so thoroughly conditioned to equate expensive housing with personal worth that they will defend their own financial captivity rather than question whether the cage was ever real. There's another layer here that deserves to be said plainly. When a young, white professional lives in a van and posts about it online, the culture calls it van life. It becomes aspirational content. It gets feature articles. When a black man lives in his car, even deliberately, even successfully, even as an act of radical financial self-determination, he gets pointed at. In a parking lot, he gets called a bum. He gets the look that says, "I feel sorry for you," or "I'm afraid of you," or both. The same choice reads as freedom in one face and failure in another. That discrepancy is not accidental. It is the system making sure that the people who would most benefit from opting out are the most aggressively discouraged from doing so. The system did not fail Marcus. It worked exactly as designed. It just was not designed in his interest. 18 months after moving into the Malibu, Marcus had saved $26,000, not because his income increased. His income hadn't changed at all, because he had stopped pouring money into a machine that was built to consume it. He put a down payment on a small parcel of land 40 minutes outside Atlanta and began building a modest structure, not an Instagram tiny home, not a lifestyle brand, just a real place that he would own outright within 3 years, mortgage-free, because he had refused to believe that expensive shelter was the price of admission to a dignified life. The people who had laughed at him were still paying rent, still receiving the autopay notification on the first of every month, still telling themselves that next year they'd start actually saving, still walking past the door in the wall. So let's talk about what you can actually do with this information right now, because I refuse to leave you with inspiration that has nowhere to go. The first step, and the easiest one, tonight, pull up every single monthly bill you pay and write them down in one place, not to cut them yet, not to make any decisions, just to see the total. Add up the full slap number, look at it. Because most people have never actually looked at that number as a single figure. They experience their expenses one at a time, month after month, and the full weight of the total never lands. When it does, it changes the conversation you have with yourself about what is actually necessary and what has simply become assumed. The second step, identify one expense, just one, and ask yourself the honest question: is this essential or has it become a given? Not your food, not your transportation to work, something in the gray zone. A storage unit full of things you haven't touched in 2 years. A streaming package with 4 services when you use one. An apartment bedroom that functions as an expensive closet. Ask what it would genuinely cost you in your real daily life, in your actual comfort and well-being, to remove it. The answer is almost always smaller than you expect. The third step, for those who are ready to look further, the vehicle living. Community in this country is real, it is growing, and it is full of people who are not in distress. They are engineers and teachers and remote workers and freelancers and small business owners. They are people who looked at the same ransom note everyone gets handed and simply decided not to pay it. Search for them. Read their accounts, not because you have to do what they did, but because seeing that it is possible, that someone is doing it right now and thriving, is the first crack in the wall that the system built around your imagination. Marcus is not a saint. He is not a folk hero, and he would not want to be called one. He is a man who sat in a parking lot on a cold spring morning with a thermos of coffee and the specific kind of clarity that arrives when you stop asking the world's permission to live differently. He engineered his way out of a system that had been engineered to hold him inside it, with a Chevy Malibu, a foam pad, a solar panel, a butane stove, and the refusal to mistake the cage for the world. The freedom was never lost. It was rented back to you every month at a rate you never agreed to out loud. You just kept paying because everyone around you was paying too.